late breaking details, I understand.
Absolutely, you're right. Good morning, Del. Lots happening right now. The president is on his way to Cleveland, Ohio today to promote his American Jobs Plan. The president is leaving the White House to promote this plan. The numbers are big, $213 billion in direct funding and another $100 billion in new and expanded tax credits. The American Jobs Plan, touted by the White House, is in response to the economic devastation caused by the global coronavirus pandemic. But perhaps the most telling numbers of the morning are the jobless numbers. 406,000 Americans filed for unemployment benefits last week, and that's a new pandemic low and a sign that the overall economy is strengthening as the nation reopens following widespread use of the COVID-19 vaccine. The Biden infrastructure plan includes new tax credits to rehabilitate more than 500,000 homes for low and middle income home buyers. According to statistics provided by the White House, millions of houses across the country sit empty and in poor condition because their current values are too low to support substantial renovation. Now, the White House says the Neighborhood Home Investment Act will make home ownership and wealth building possible for low and moderate income families in underserved communities. And the Biden plan will also expand access to federal subsidies for the construction or rehabilitation of more than 1 million affordable rental housing units. The president is also proposing authorizing $2 billion in new rental assistance agreements for the first time in more than 20 years. And that's to give more working class families access to affordable housing. And even though the president's first official budget isn't expected to be released until tomorrow, details already leaking. The New York Times is reporting tomorrow's budget plan will total $6 trillion. The proposal contains major investments in infrastructure, education, and health care, and that $6 trillion price tag would bring federal spending to the highest sustained level since World War II. And Del, Republicans are expected to propose a much smaller infrastructure plan today. Reports are the GOP infrastructure counteroffer is closer to $928 billion. And a final note this morning, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen is testifying before Congress with an update of the economic recovery and what her department is doing to help people still affected by the pandemic. She says the government is actually operating like it's the year 2010 and we need more aggressive spending. Del?
Laverne, I was actually looking at that number coming down, the $928 billion counterproposal by Republicans. By the way, we should point out they started at $600 billion, so they are coming up. But I was fascinated. It almost has that 1999 feel about it. You know, they didn't want to say $1 trillion, so $928 billion. And if you act now, we'll throw in an infrastructure plan that will deal with your bridges and your roads and your schools, et cetera. But what's interesting about this is that they are finally talking in Washington. It would be one thing to say that there are no proposals on the table, but there have been serious Republican proposals, and there are hints in this city that something actually might get done.
Yeah, wouldn't that be great? And actually hearing from Mitch McConnell saying that he is willing to work with those numbers and go a little bit higher if necessary. Quite surprising and a pleasant surprise, Bill.
And Laverne, one other thing before I let you go. The fact that you were reporting that they're going to pay families to keep their houses up is hugely important in the black community. I know so many people that find themselves forced to sell, especially with gentrification, because they say, look, my house is worth this now, but I can't afford to keep it up. This actually allows people to be able to take care of their house and also stay in their house. Your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely critical, Del. It's interesting you say that because June is actually a National Housing Month, and we know that right now, because of the pandemic, housing is at a premium, and your home, of course, is your castle. So for people to be able to stay in their homes, renovate their homes, be able to pay those rents and mortgages, fix things is so critical at this time during the pandemic when so many people are working from home and still kids at home.
My dear friend, Laverne McGee, I'll see you on the airways this afternoon. Thanks for being with us.